Now, this is a huge topic, the topic of copywriting and creating a sales page and how to put them, onto that page and then get them to read it, get them excited, get the urgency going, get the, it's all those persuasion techniques to make them want to buy. And we could talk for episodes and episodes and episodes about copywriting. I'm sure we'll do one in the future about copywriting. But one of the quickest and easiest pieces of advice that we can give you on this right now, well, there's a couple. First of all, one is that you should start studying some copywriting. Now, you don't need to become a master copywriter yourself, but you need to understand some of the basic principles of it so that you can be more effective in your own marketing, but just also so you can recognize good copy. And even if you're going to have other people write the copy for you, you can recognize when it's being done right. So that's definitely something you should start bits of studying right now. That's I was told early on in my entrepreneurial journey that copywriting was one of the skills that would increase my income more than anything. And even though now we outsource some of that, I'm glad that I spent a good amount of time studying that. And still today, I try to hone that on an ongoing basis as well. So that's the first piece of advice: is start studying it now and make it part of this journey of becoming a more successful business person. But the second thing is that the quickest and easiest way to get started with your copywriting or your sales pages is to just swipe liberally, okay? Every good copywriter out there borrows from other copywriters and other marketing pieces all the time. It's what they do. They see a masterful headline and something that they're reading, they cut it out, they put it in a file folder. They see a great sales letter online, they save it, they put it into a specific folder. They have a system that they can refer back to, and they just have, hundreds of headlines. They can go and pick one and adapt to what they're doing. And of course, you can't just word for word take somebody's sales letter, but you can take powerful phrases that you see and adapt them to your market, adapt them to your voice. And there's just proven headlines, proven opening statements, proven pieces of copy that have been used over and over that convert, that do a good job of moving the people through the sales letter and getting them to buy. And so one of the best things you can do is find people that are good copywriters and just read the sales letters that they make and then even borrow from their sales letters and see how they construct things and do similar things for yourself. So that's one of the quickest and easiest ways to get started with your sales pages and creating good copy to begin with. So create a swipe file start creating a swipe file for yourself. Now, we mentioned you should start studying. So here's a couple people where we have learned copywriting from, and we definitely recommend that you just do so as well. The very first person I started learning copywriting from was Dan Kennedy. We've mentioned his name many, many times on the podcast. He's been a business mentor to us and definitely is a copywriting master himself, has been paid buco bucks by people to write copy for them. And so he's a great person to learn from, and he has several courses available to teach you effective copywriting.
Yeah, the one that you can check out if you want to see something that he has to offer. This was actually the first course that I got on copywriting, and I've gone through it a couple of times. Every now and then I have to go through parts of it again just to remember, because there's quite a bit of stuff, but you can check that out at internetbusinessmastery.com/copy.
All right. Another source that you can go to is copyblogger.com. We've interviewed him in the past on the podcast, and he's got an extremely successful blog, does really well teaching people how to write effective copy, is a great copywriter himself. So definitely go check out copyblogger.com. Just lots and lots and lots of free and powerful copywriting advice there on his blog. Of course, the other thing that you can do is just hire a copywriter. Now, this is always a tricky thing, especially for a newbie in business, because copywriters are not cheap. I mean, it's because it's the skill that pays the bills. They get paid a good amount of money. And you can try to find, if you can, an up-and-coming copywriter, but you're going to get what you pay for, too. About the best thing we can suggest is maybe see if there's somebody who's willing to do it, for a percentage of the profits that are made. They have a price, a share of the sales that goes towards them. And so they're making money based on, the performance. And after money is coming in, if you don't have a lot of money to pay them up front, you can try to, make some kind of agreement there. So that's one suggestion we can give as well.
Oh, and I love that one.
Yeah,
I love
right.
our copywriter. I love writing his check, even though it's been the biggest check we've written out to anybody every month. That's the one I absolutely, there's no pain involved in writing his check.
Totally agree. Okay, so you put together a sales page. It has all this information, persuasive copy that gets the person excited about buying your product. And down at the bottom, there's an order button, and they click on that order button. And what happens? How do they buy? How do you take their money? Well, there are a few different pieces that you need to have put together in order for this to happen. And the payment process is made up of three different things. First of all is the shopping cart. And so this is a program that will, manage, have all your different products set up in your shopping cart, and it takes their information and it checks their address and gets, collects all that info and puts it into your database. And then it sends the credit card info off to what's called the gateway. And the gateway checks and does that verification to make sure, okay, is this a valid number? Does it match the billing address? Is it not expired, et cetera, et cetera? And it checks to see, will this go through? And then the merchant account is actually the person that pays you the money after the transactions have been done. When you use a Visa card to buy something, it's not like Visa is paying directly money to that merchant. It's actually a merchant account, which is much like a large credit account that actually pays that vendor. So at the end of the day, the vendor sends in all their credit card stuff, and it gets processed, and then the merchant account, sends the money to their bank account, and essentially is giving them a short-term credit of here's all the money for the transactions you put through today, and then later they are paid the money through the Visa system and everything themselves. So you have to set up a merchant account in order to be able to take credit cards through your own shopping cart on your own site. Now, there's a couple services that we can recommend for doing this. The shopping cart service that we use, you can find at getyourshoppingcart.com. It's a shopping cart we've used for quite a while, and it does really well for us. And they've got a great system. It's very affordable given the service that you get. The gateway and the merchant account often come together, and you have to sign up for a merchant account, which usually has to do, requires having some kind of credit check. And there's one that we found that's relatively familiar with the whole information marketing, online marketing business. Lots of internet business people use their service. And so they're a good one to go, because you want a merchant account provider that understands your business. And, there's all these tricky things we could go into and talk a long time about it, but you have to keep your merchant account person happy and stay within all the parameters. Otherwise, they can actually free some of your money and hold on to your money. And there's all these tricky things. So you want to have a good merchant account that you trust, they have a good relationship with, and that understands your business. So you can find out the one that we use, and that, a number of other internet marketers use by going to getmymerchantaccount.com. That's getmymerchantaccount.com. And like we said, the gateway service usually comes along. You sign up for your merchant account, you get that, and they sign you up with a gateway account, which you've probably heard of. Something called like Authorize.net is a very popular gateway provider. And they're kind of the bridge between the shopping cart and the merchant account. So those are the pieces that you put together. And there's one other option that's worth mentioning, and that is PayPal. PayPal is not exactly a merchant account, although they do now have a merchant account service. But if nothing else, you can use PayPal as kind of an interim beginning type thing. It's definitely one of the options you can use. We provide it as one of the payment options for our stuff, as well as the shopping cart service that we have. So, that's a great place to start out, as well as with PayPal.com, which will allow you then to take credit cards over your site. And I think it goes without saying, you've got to have credit cards. You got to take credit cards, or else you're dead in the water. It's just, there's no way around it these days.